Celtics Stuff Live.
Welcome to Celtics Stuff Live on the CLNS Media Network, the leading online provider of audio and video coverage for the Boston Celtics. I'm Justin, he's John, and we had a game. Yeah, baby. And it is a preseason game. Real quick, John. It's going to be a quick hitter. Okay? Be ready to answer quickly. It's going to be quick.
Hitting.
What is the single thing that stood out the most to you in that game? Go.
Jayson Tatum's shot selection.
Okay. I want to say Hayward's aggressiveness to the basket and the lack of anybody else's.
Okay. All right. That's it, everybody. Thanks for listening.
That's a wrap.
Give us a 5-star review. And
Sweet. Reminder, you can follow Celtics Stuff Live. All right, so talk about what did you like the shot selection or did you not like the shot selection?
I was aroused at his shot selection. It was amazing. Yeah, that's right. Not like that.
We've had some terrible shows lately, I swear to God, but that's great.
I'm putting my glasses on.
You better put something on.
Put the mood music on here. Hello. No, listen. He was great. He was after. Look, a year ago, this team was all talk, no action, right? We're gonna be this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna win everything. We're the best. We're awesome. Okay. The single most important player for this Boston Celtics team now and in the future is Jayson Tatum. The most important thing is Jayson Tatum getting that arc and trying to become the player that we all hope he can be. And if he doesn't figure out how to score the ball, okay, never mind everything else he's got to bring to the table. But if he can't score the ball, they're going to have issues. He could score, but inefficiently. What I saw at Jayson Tatum was the type of shot selection, the shot profile that we need to see from Jayson Tatum for him to become that highly efficient scorer that can lead this team places. There's other parts of the game he's got to work on, but Brad was complimentary of his defense. I thought his rebounding is another area where there's some signs there as well, but shot profile is really so important for him. And if he can do that, coupled with your answer, this Celtics offense looks completely different in 2020 than it did in 2019.
Yeah, I was really just very happy to see Hayward's aggressiveness, more because he was able to finish around the rim. I mean, there were some times when he fell down, but he was just able to get that little extra half inch, whatever it was, that he didn't have last year when he tried to make those moves, where he couldn't get the ball over the defender's hands. It just couldn't do it. And several times he attacked the paint. I think one didn't go down, but it was in the cylinder and back out. Several others did go down. Making that move where he's crossing over or at least hesitating to get around the corner. I mean, the defense was the defense. It was the Charlotte Hornets, but there's lots to like there. Even his 3-point shot, like Gordon, I think, did he only take one? I'll have to look again. I didn't see most of the second half. I think he only took one in the first half. Oh, yeah, he must have taken a few in the second half because he's 1 for 4. But the first one that went down was pretty smooth. And so I'm encouraged by that. As we tack on some other things, that interior defense is still an issue. But one of the things that I noticed on the second chance opportunities in the first half for the Charlotte Hornets, it wasn't that whoever was playing center, either Williams or Cantor, wasn't necessarily always out of position. It was the secondary box out that wasn't happening in many cases. So it was whoever was coming in and crashing who didn't have the height advantage that was getting some of those putback attempts. That was a little frustrating. I think they have some work to do there. And I would have expected Cantor to get a little bit more rebounds too. So it's going to beg the question as the season goes on, if the rebounding woes of the Boston Celtics are very much just the strategy that they're deploying under Brad Stevens.
Yeah, it could be. Although, Grant ended up with 9 rebounds in some fewer minutes. So, I we'll see. I mean, I think that's always the problem. The one game sample size. But when you talk about sometimes production doesn't weigh in, but intent does. So missing shots, but taking the right shots, that you can see right away. That's something that you're going to see in a preseason. They miss them, well, so be it. At least they're in the right spot or this and that. I think, that's what I really liked there. It's what I liked about the Gordon Hayward drives to the basket. I mean, I agree with you. And that was a stupendous sign of a guy with burst and with confidence in his ability to use that burst and get something productive out of it. I don't think necessarily he was a night and day difference in terms of what his leg could do or couldn't do. Probably the strength was pretty much there, but I don't think mentally between the years
he's not worried anymore.
He's
not worried anymore.
He's a player. That's it. Boom. End of story. So I think those two pieces are crucial. I don't even think about Kemba. He was facilitating. He was kind of easing his way into it. Great. No problem. I think that was all good stuff. I think you're right. I mean, and a lot of the post-game chatter has really gone to the center position. And what the heck are the Celtics going to do? Because, Time Lord did not have a great game. But, I think there's some youthful exuberance that kind of goes along with that. And we saw in Summer League and with some of the comments that Brad's made, over the last week to 2 weeks, a lot of compliments about how Rob Williams has kind of approached this summer. So let's kind of toss that to the side
Give
and see
him
how
a
he
few
does
more
against Orlando.
Still makes sense. We talked about this earlier before the season got started, that it made sense to start him. And if he's doing well and the matchup favors him and he stays out of foul trouble, you let him roll because, you're only going to go so far off that bench anyway. The other thing that kind of stood out was Carson Edwards. I think he's going to get playing time. No doubt.
Yeah, he was. I don't know. It's so weird. Like you hear the comment, he's a bucket, about people, but that dude is a bucket. I mean, he's a walking, talking, living, breathing bucket, and he can do other things. He can pressure. He plays some really good pesky defense. But yeah, that dude
has energy. He is coming
energy.
in with an enormous amount of energy. That's really going to be key coming off of the bench. I think it might even kind of make things a little funny with Marcus Smart and the way that they're doing this rotation to start the game, right? Because Marcus Smart on the bench and Enes Kanter on the bench, and they're the first two subs for Rob Williams and Jaylen Brown, right? Yeah, and then Jaylen subs back in early and kind of leads the bench a little bit with Smart out there. But if they expect to put the ball into Carson Edwards' hands, it's going to make it harder. And I guess maybe they can put Marcus, at the 2 with Kemba and at the 2 with Carson Edwards too. It's not like it's necessarily got to go that way. But it does make for kind of an interesting sub if they're going to want to put the ball in Edwards' hands. I guess, Smart then focuses a little bit more on D. What's concerning about Smart, and maybe we can table this for a second, but the 3-point shot did not look good. And so he was, here's the thing I noticed on the first couple of attempts, he's turned sideways. He was not squared up to the basket. That's the part that's got me the most concerned, is just getting that good foundation and being squared up with the basket. For him to get kind of sideways on it again is a little nerve-wracking for me.
I think you could say he was the worst player on the Celtics on Sunday night. And I don't mean that as an insult, but I also see in Marcus Smart a guy who's recognizing that the first preseason game is not the one to worry about, and he's got a long season, and he made some comments last week, on Media Day about the fact that he's got to approach things a little bit differently. He's a vet now. He's got to pick his spots maybe a little bit better, and
stay healthy.
And so going all out. No, an 0 for 4 in 20 minutes with 1 rebound, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. Not great, but honestly, we know what Marcus Smart can do. So I'm not so worried about that. I think he's actually the perfect fit next to Carson Edwards because they both can share ball handling duties depending upon the matchups. If they want to pick on whoever the point guard is, Carson's the guy to do it. But if they want to run pick and roll or create kind of more of a flow to the offense, Marcus can certainly handle the ball and find guys. So I think it's a great fit. I wonder whether or not there's enough offense in that second unit. I need to see Cantor kind of go to work a little bit better, like you said, whether it's rebounding wise or what have you. They need that consistent scoring punch and consistent rebounding from him to make it all worthwhile. Jaylen also didn't have a great shot, I thought in that second unit too. Yeah, I think they started out pretty well, and then they made that adjustment. They brought in, Smart and Cantor. Things kind of got unstable, and then when Jaylen came in and they started cycling through Tatum and Hayward, wheels kind of came off the bus round and round. And it wasn't. That's when I thought things started to fall apart in terms of the team. And I think then when the starters came back in, it was, that's when the Hornets went in up by 14. So I would personally, I thought that was really an issue. I think Jaylen's going to have an opportunity to eat. I don't know. I look at this team. I look at what we went through with the center position on Sunday, and I just keep looking at Jaylen Brown's spot, and I'm like, man. Can they make this work? Can they, they've got to get those weak side rebounds. They got to box out when it goes up, and he's got to be a guy who's taking a leading role in doing that.
He's going to have to get more aggressive. There were moments like the first play that Jaylen made or didn't make was like, oh man, there's the handle that isn't a handle. But then later on, he did some crazy things and actually did have good ball control and was able to weave through some traffic, and that was definitely better. But at the end of the day, it's still, for Jaylen, it's about picking the right spots to shoot, finding his spots on the floor. That's the part that just hasn't come yet, and I'm hoping that with more opportunity, with maybe that bench, the way that they did that rotation in the first preseason game, might give him the ability to kind of develop that some more, similarly to what it was like in that playoff run, when the injuries were there to Hayward and to
Voldemort,
the guy we're not going to mention, Voldemort, the man
right,
who shall remain nameless. Yes,
that's right. Yeah, Voldemort and Hayward being hurt opened that up for Jaylen. And remember also what Jaylen was doing there. A lot of that was picking on matchups, picking on guys like J.J. Redick, picking on really poor defenders in Milwaukee, picking on, a Cavs team that seemingly
it's
had
just good decision making with what he had.
Yeah, it is, but he was picking on weaker opponents, right? And he probably will have still weaker opponents that he's going up against, right? But I don't know he can get that consistently. I don't know that is he a guy who could be an 18-point a game scorer? And average 6 boards and 3 assists. Can he be that guy? I don't know. I don't know if he can get there. I don't know, if maybe inefficiently, but can he efficiently get to 18, 6, and 3? That's what I wonder. If he can, then this team can go a lot further than I thought. He's a really good player. I like having him here. He's a solid citizen. I wouldn't be maxing him out. But he's going to have to take his opportunities, and if he's going to get those second unit bench units kind of with him as the guy, he's going to have to be a monster against those second units and destroy them with his, whether it's back to the basket kind of post up stuff from 8-10 feet on the wing, or whether it's driving to the basket and penetrating, or his stand still catch and shoot jumpers. He's going to have to improve that, because last year he kind of fell off a little bit in the 3-point land, and he's going to need that. He's going to have to make hay or in those units, so that way when he's cycled back out, there's more flow, because again, you're going to go, if you don't break up Tatum and Hayward in terms of that first unit and kind of work them with Jaylen, Jaylen's the guy. I think I'd prefer to have one of Hayward or Tatum on the floor with Jaylen at all times, but I'm not sure they're there yet. Because I want more Grant Williams, because Grant Williams was
all right. We'll
fun
get
as
there.
hell.
We'll get there. All right. Follow Celtic Stuff Live on Twitter at CSL_tweet live, as well as your host at CSL_Justin. That's me. At CSL_Duke. That's him. The entire CLNS Media Network at CLNS Media. Facebook.com/CLNS fans. Download the CLNS Media app for iOS and Android. Simply search CLNS Media in your app marketplace. YouTube.com/CLNS Media. It's back with high definition, full length locker room interviews and the Garden Report. And guess what? The football season is in full swing, so get into the game with our exclusive sports betting partners, betonline.ag. Sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit to start betting college or professional ball. Every spread, every total, every winner or loser, straight bet, parlay, or tease your way through the season. You can even bet on wild proposition bets. Who will be the first head coach to get canned? Will the Dolphins win a game? Will the Redskins win a game? Get the fastest to market odds, updates, and payouts with our new sportsbook partners, betonline.ag. By the way, the first head coach to get canned, that happened. It was the Redskins, Gruden. Head over to our website today or use your mobile device to join and use promo code CLNS50 to receive your 50% welcome bonus. betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. So, John, we could talk about Grant Williams, but I think we close it out on Grant. The one thing I will say is I liked that Kemba was a pretty unselfish, off the ball kind of player, like we wanted to hopefully see with him, and resurrecting a little bit of that Isaiah Thomas style offense. We definitely saw that in the first half of that game. I thought the ball movement was good. It wasn't crisp, but the ball movement was moving. They were sharing. They looked a lot like the pre-Voldemort era. And so I was enjoying that greatly. It seemed like everybody was getting their opportunity to find a mismatch. You know, the ball wasn't getting stuck. I do think that they settled for more outside shots than I would like, but that's definitely something that Brad coaches. So it's hard to criticize it because I don't like it if they're doing what they're expected to be doing. That's kind of where, I struggle a little bit with that. So at the end of the day, two players, Kemba and Terry Rozier, pseudo traded for each other. I think the part that I liked about Terry's game was the 9 assists.
Oh yeah, I mean if that Terry Rozier, was here in Boston last year, who knows what might have happened. Up to and including trading Voldemort in February. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened differently if that Terry Rozier was the Terry Rozier throughout last season.
Terry Rozier is going to tell you that Terry Rozier was in the postseason the year before, and you're going to be very upset about the fact that he didn't get playing time because of Voldemort's return last year.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I like Terry. I think he's a good dude. I think it was a bad situation for him last year. I think he played it very poorly. He had a lot of opportunity, but you know what? He still ended up making $20 million a year over 3 years almost, and he's gonna go and he's gonna be the man somewhere, and that's pretty great for him, And when
he had the highest plus minus of anybody in that game,
sure. And he's, we're gonna people say, oh, he got so much money in 3 years. You know what's gonna happen? 19 million isn't gonna be 19 million. I mean, this happens all the time. When Evan Turner got his big money, we're like, oh my God, he got 17 million a year. What the heck? He's not worth 17 million a year now or then, but it wasn't nearly as crazy once he got 2 or 3 years into it because there's other people who are making, ridiculous amounts of money. That's just the way it goes. So, I'm over that. I wish him well. I'm rooting for him kind of weirdly. I don't think, I'm over whatever impact he had on that team last year. It's a new team, new page. We're moving ahead. But I sure wish that guy was playing that way for the Celtics last year, and it just didn't happen. So good for him.
Hard to
But
play that way on spot minutes, though. I mean, you do have to
sure,
kind of
sure.
these players. It's a rhythm game, and the more time they get, the easier it is to be in rhythm. And that's the criticism for having so many wings on this team. There's only so many opportunities, and you need your role players. And so where's your blue chippers? How do you build around them? And you've seen it with other teams in the past. They'll take that third or fourth player who probably deserves more minutes, and they'll spit them out for some veterans, and the team winds up being better. But then down the line, everybody criticizes them for getting rid of an all-star or a future all-star. And teams have done it over and over and over in time. I'm sure there's always some salary cap elements to that too, but that could be one of the same scenarios. Jaylen Brown could be next year's Terry Rozier.
No, I really don't want to think of that. I don't think it. I think we already saw Jaylen.
I don't mean from
adjust.
the negativity. Sorry, let me back up. I don't mean from the negativity piece. I mean from I think Terry's going to thrive in Charlotte. I think he's going to contract just fine. And Jaylen may find him on the outs of rotation minutes, and they wind up doing an addition by subtraction to bring in, a little more bench depth, by trading away a young and promising player. And both of those guys could easily, and again, I don't want to overplay Rozier here, and we all know some of the young players always have some deficiencies, but those two guys could easily become all-stars, for other teams if given the opportunity to become a focal point of the offense over time. I mean, there is a major factor in growth and development that way around an NBA player. How much opportunity do you get?
Right. Opportunity. What does opportunity lead to, and taking opportunities and cashing in on them, I guess, and I mean, looking at it's tough because the Celtics had amassed all those trade chips and ultimately never only cashed them in once. We're not going there. But really didn't really use much of their trade chips of their assets to then go out and get that player. So they still have Jaylen, they still have Tatum, they still have the Memphis pick. They still, I mean, so much of that largesse. They have Romeo Langford, who is the extra player who people forget as part of that Tatum Fultz deal. Danny made a conscious effort to say, I'm not getting enough for what I'm not going to give all of these guys up for Jimmy Butler. I'm not going to give all of these guys up for Paul George. And so now you see what that builds, and does that get you enough? Does that get you a lot of B- talent or B+ talent, but no A's? And knowing that A's are the ones that really leads you to the promised land. That's that second guessing, I guess, that people want to do. I don't think we've seen the end of Jaylen Brown or Jayson Tatum's or anywhere near the end of where they are as players or in their development. But clearly steps have to be made, and not just small steps, but substantial steps for both guys for this team to go to that next level. And it's there for them. In a way, they're kind of in that same spot that the Golden State Warriors were in 2014, where, things were kind of weird and who's going to shake out, and there were injuries and there were reasons why it didn't click. And then all of a sudden, boom, everything hit the way it needed to. Now, I'm not saying we've got Clay and Steph and Draymond on this team, but you have talent here. And if it clicks, things could be very combustible.
All right, yeah, but then there's a big gap from Sunday's game to Friday's game. So I guess the biggest thing is just figuring out, or we'll be able to see what kind of adjustments they make after getting one game under their belt. They'll get a whole week of practices before they have to play another one. I'm kind of starved for some basketball, so I hope the rest of this week goes quickly. But one thing you wanted to talk about was Grant Williams and how much fun he is. So is he going to be your new pet project? Is he your new guy?
No, I think I'll let other people fall in love there. I like Grant Williams a lot. I think he's going to be. I think people are just going to love it's going to be the real sickos, the people who are watching every games like you and I and the people listening who are going to really love Grant Williams, who are going to appreciate him. He's not going to be on SportsCenter. He's not going to be, someone who's going to get, a lot of attention. But I think he's going to be somebody who's going to make this thing tick. I mean, at plus 14, an exhibition game, what does that mean? But he was a plus minus monster in summer league too. He's just a guy who leads to winning. He makes winning plays. 9 rebounds in 18 minutes. When's the last time the Celtics had 9 rebounds from a player in 18 minutes? I can't even tell you. But it's more than that. It's him being in the right spot defensively, and I think it may not be there necessarily in the start because he's trying to learn everybody and learn his teammates and their tendencies and what they're doing. But I bet second half of the year he's going to be probably one of the team's better defenders, just from a positional standpoint, because that's really what's missing in that back line is someone who's going to step in, somebody who's going to be able to slide in or to rotate over to take away those situations. And he is that guy who clearly is a step ahead of everybody. Brilliant guy, and I think it's really going to work out well for him here. The need is there, and if Semi Ojeleye struggles, he missed shots, and that's not what it's all about. But 3 boards, that's nice, that's good. But Shemi's got to do more, because as we talked about last time, I think the better Grant does, the more it's going to take from Shemi's minutes.
Well, it's just a more natural fit too with the whole. They're both strong players, but Grant's been a strong player at the position, or even a position under the position that we need him to play at center. And so, just style of play, I think, suits him. So to your point, kind of fits him really well. He is a very fun guy. He is a very intelligent guy. We're going to see him get burned a little bit this year, but hopefully he'll make up for it in other areas. I don't want to compare him to Jared Sullinger by any means, but I do think he has a ceiling that's going to prevent him from being a long-term NBA starter. But I think he could be a very solid big off the bench that's willing to do the things that need to be done to win. And so when you talk about them not having those veteran players, those role guys that are going to come in, you are kind of getting that in this rookie here. And I think that he's going to be a big piece of, whatever happens this season, kind of similar to Carson Edwards. I mean, I can see those two guys, the big rookies. Langford doesn't get any playing time in game 1. He's listed as illness. Neither does Daniel Tice. Daniel Tice could figure in for some minutes depending on, if he gets off to a kind of a hot start or opportunity presents itself to him. But I think that's going to do it. I got something for the outtakes though. So this broadcast will be available on demand on the CLNS Media mobile app. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter at CSL_Justin and at CSL_Duke. A heartfelt thank you to everybody for tuning in. And remember that you can help support the show by subscribing to Celtics Stuff Live on iTunes and Stitcher. We'd love it if you gave us a rating and a review, because your feedback is important to the show. And for staff writer Samuel Elias, executive producer Larry H. Russell, the founder of CLNS Media Nick Gelso, and my co-host John Duke, I'm Justin Poulin. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Celtics Stuff Live.
Celtics Stuff Live.
All right, so we got to talk about Tacko.
Why are you doing that? Why you gotta be like that? Don't be like that.
I don't know. There's a slight over-exuberance for Tacko Fall.
Sure. I agree with that. That's annoying.
It's just a little much, like, who was the player you said last week Ennis Canner bugs you. That was our outtakes last week. Ennis Canner bugs you because you think he's all about himself, right? Sure. But, him and Tacko are all buddying up and they're buddies. But I don't think Tacko Fall's out about all about himself or anything, but I think that the hype around him is sort of manufactured in a similar way, to an extent. He's a big, tall player, could be a great prospect. If he makes the team, it's because I think, there are some other spots that just couldn't be filled. But he's a super project, in my opinion. And, there were some reports out there that he wouldn't accept a two-way deal. And that's really the only way I see him sticking on the club. So I think he could be, a casualty at the end of training camp for that reason. I don't know that he gets I don't know that he gets one of the open spots for the parent club. And I think he might try to move on if they try to do the two-way deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the way Javonte Green played on Sunday, it would be difficult to not give him the 15th spot. But Max Strus, buddy, I don't know what's happening, man. Because as a two-way, it's not looking good, friend. He's got, he was one of the last guys off the bench. Only Vincent Poirier played less. And I think Strus gets cut. I don't think he sticks around. And I think Tacko gets the two-way. I know that the agent is kind of muscling and being like, but Tacko needs to be in a development situation. He cannot just he can't sit on the bench and just wait. He's got to play wherever he is. He's got to, and that's got to happen probably in Portland. It's not going to happen in Boston. So he's got to be on a two-way, and hopefully he gets enough playing time, but also enough nurturing from the Boston, the Celtics organization to be able to benefit him in the long run. But that would be my goal. I mean, would hope that they sign Green and then they cut Strus and let Tacko take that second two-way contract. That'd be my hope, at least.
Yeah, Green played great though, right?
Amazing. I mean, really, crazy bounce. That guy is crazy athletic, but also played well. I mean, made a three, 4 rebounds in 10 minutes, 15 points, 7 for 7. I mean, that's not going to happen all the time, but he looked really good out there. He looked really good. So, he's an older player too, so he should look good.
And what they need is another wing.
Yeah, I mean, but one trade happens, and then before you know it, he's there. I mean, that's if you have Romeo Langford who's hurt. I mean, there aren't really many legitimate wing size guys outside of Romeo. After those starters, like it goes to like Grant Williams, Shemi Ojale, Marcus Smart. So, in the bottom of the roster, there's not really many people who are that kind of size other than Romeo. So to me, while I think the team needs shooting and Strus could apparently do that, I think Tacko is a better fit. I really would like to see what they can do with him. And he played well. He played really well in that fourth quarter, until things got a little switchy and they had to pull him out. But I think there's a role for a guy like Tacko Fall. Really do. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if he'll accept a two-way deal. He's got to be a two-way player. That's that we can agree on.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they'd use a 15th roster spot on him. It doesn't make any sense. He wouldn't play enough in Portland, and I think it's best for his development probably. So.
Yeah.
I'm with you, but the hysteria is dumb. There's people who are out there to just cheer on the Tacko Fall thing, and I think that's
it's just because he's big and he has a great name. He's tall with a big name, with a great name. That's what it really comes down to.
But if you take that aside, he's a good dude who.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure. Like that.
Not disparaging him. No.
Yeah.
No.
I know you're not.
Guy. Yeah. Good fun. I get it. I just think people are a little over the top.
Right. There's an element out there that's making it the sideshow, but I think as basketball fans, as Celtics fans, I think there's a lot of people who really just want to root the guy on, hope he does well, and just stays in that lane. The people who want to be in the taco costumes at the games, that's something.
Even just the I called it clan, right? Yeah. Oh, I said he was going to be awesome. Oh, good for you. You picked a guy who's 7'7" and took a shot at it. Come on. All right.
I know.
That's it. If you're still listening,
you're welcome. Oh God.